The next question goes first to Chandler Woodcock. Recently, the Maine legislature passed new rules to discourage development around coastal nesting habitat for plovers, sandpipers, and other shorebirds. The rules created a 250-foot setback from the high tide line up from the previous protection line of 75 feet. Washington County business owners now say nearly 20% of their coastline is protected under the rules, and they feel unfairly disadvantaged. And a new bill is being introduced to reconsider changes. Would you support or oppose that bill, and why?
We originally had the discussion around a different topic, and it migrated to coastal nesting habitat as part of the DEP rule process. I have discussed the impact with the people of Washington County and people throughout the state of Maine, actually, when it applies to the particular legislation. I am not a supporter of the new bill at the current time, because I believe it has seriously impacted the ability of the community in Washington County to utilize its land in an acceptable fashion. We have mentioned already tonight the compromise between pickerel and payroll. And I have viewed this from afar for a long time, and now I've had the opportunity for 6 years to view it at a close range. The negotiations have been weighted, in my opinion, clearly on the side of those who would protect our environment, which I would applaud in many cases, and have been supportive in many cases. However, there needs to be a comfortable balance struck between both entities if we're going to be able to survive for those of us who have lived in Maine for a long time and those of us who are coming here from away. So I'm not supportive of the new bill until we have a chance to take a look at the discussion and strike a compromise that's more meaningful for both sides.
Just to be clear, you're saying you don't support the new rules, but you would support new legislation to look at this issue?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Barbara Merrill?
Thank you. Thank you. This issue needs to be revisited, and I will work very closely with Senator Kevin Ray and the people of Washington County to look at it. What happened last session was this legislation was introduced, and no one knew what the impact was going to be. And that's not how we promote good public policy in this state. That's not how we further the environmental agenda. That's not how we make good law in Augusta. It needs to come back. We need to have full public hearings so that everyone can have a chance to weigh in on it, and then we will take it where it needs to go.
Thank you. John Baldacci?
Let me just say that the rules were confirmed by overwhelming majorities in both houses of the legislature. In fact, the vote in the state Senate was unanimous. It protects vernal pools, shorebirds, wading birds, and waterfowl. We have heard the outcry of concern in terms of the 250-foot buffer, and I've asked the commissioner of the department to look into those concerns and to report back in a thoughtful way what needs to be done in terms of addressing this issue. So I don't support any legislation, and I would support the commissioner in his review and his recommendations in terms of this matter.
Thank you. Philip Morris Napier.
Well, folks, I don't know nothing about this issue. So I'll have to read up on it later.
Thank you very much. Pat LaMarche?
How refreshing was that? I think this is a symptom of the thing I mentioned in my opening remarks, where we don't have one major oversight board that makes all the different departments talk to each other. Our oceans are incredibly important, and yet we have one regulation group that regulates a little bit of it, another regulation that regulates another little bit of it. They don't talk to each other. We've got the concern for the fishermen. We've got the concern for the property owners. They don't talk to the people regulating. It's just a mess. So we need to put that all under one tent, lock them in until we get some understanding of what the other person's living through, and find some real solutions. My problem with this, with the way we address things like this, is we seem so incredibly unwilling to invest in it. We invest the least amount of money in public lands. If we would say these things are important to us, they're as important as a TIF for Cabela's, they're as important as the other things we do that we invest money in, why don't we just invest money in protecting some of this? Instead of taking away the property value of people on the shore, let's invest in it. Let's purchase it from them. Let's say we understand the commitment that you've made, and maybe you were saving that money for your grandchild's education, and we understand it, but this is too important, and we're going to buy it. The other thing is, why don't we pay some fishermen to stay home? That's what they do in Canada. When the fishing stocks are getting overfished, they pay the fishermen to stay home. We have to have some real investment of understanding just what the value is to us so that the fishermen won't be endangered too. They'll still have something to fish in 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much.